I don't think you're prepared for the journey we're about to embark on. Where's the source?
Thank you for calling ZeniMax Media.
What is this thing? Space. They say space is the final frontier. But if you've ever flown with Frontier, space is the last word I would use. If you want to explore the stars with style, then welcome aboard the final DLC for Fallout 3, the fabulous Mothership Zeta! During your flight on our luxurious Starliner, you'll find all the amenities you've come to love. Spacious seating? Check. In-flight entertainment? Check. Gorgeous flight attendants? Eye of the beholder. Worried about getting sucked into the cold, dead void of space? Don't worry, our pals at Boeing have got you covered. Chilled foods, automated helpers, air marshals on every flight, claw games, an inclusive workplace environment, nuking Canada. It's all here aboard Mothership Zeta. We hope to fly with you real soon. Please note that the crew of Mothership Zeta is not liable for any injuries sustained during mandatory probing. It's all completely routine, trust me. All of that sounds almost too good to be true, doesn't it? I get probed and I pay them money? Wow, that's a first, sign me up. But what if I told you that this all-inclusive trip was no longer available? That despite your best efforts, you will never be able to own a real copy of Mothership Zeta. Many consider Mothership Zeta as the dark horse of Fallout 3's DLC, due to its rather far-fetched premise and tonal contrast with the vanilla game. I mean, Fallout 3's entire tone is basically... Whereas Mothership Zeta is, well, aliens. While I have a soft spot for this DLC, you can't deny it sticks out like a sore thumb. However, it might stick out for a reason you might not expect. Fallout 3 and its subsequent expansions released at an interesting time for video games. In the early 2000s, many video game expansions and DLC packs were released on actual DVDs. Case in point, Halo 2 had an entire multiplayer map pack that was printed on a DVD. Wrath of the Lich King, Blood Moon, I could go on for literal seconds. Fallout 3 was no exception. Like Halo 2, Fallout 3's expansions all had a physical release, as seen here. These expansions came with their own case, manuals, and seizure warnings.
My eyes! My eyes!
All of Fallout 3's expansions released like this. Except for one. See, Fallout 3 released at the tail end of an outdated practice. By 2008, the internet stopped sounding like robot phone sex and became far more reliable to distribute content, namely video games. Companies shifted away from making physical releases of DLC to having them be entirely downloadable via their online services. Technically speaking, you can find Mothership Zeta on the discs of the Fallout 3 Game of the Year versions, but as far as standalone releases, Mothership Zeta got nothing. This means that the ability to own a real physical version of this DLC is now impossible. The lead producer confirmed it, multiple secondary sources confirm it too. It'll only ever exist in the digital world. So how come when I Google Mothership Zeta disc, the second result is this? I don't think you're prepared for the journey we're about to embark on, to find Fallout 3's missing DLC, and figure out once and for all, what is this thing? Like any internet mystery, you have to start at the hub of the world's most erudite citizens. Reddit. I scoured Reddit seeing what I could dig up. A quick pit stop and I was exactly where I needed to be. r/game collecting. It's here that I found some important clues. First, there is no DVD copy of Mothership Zeta. That much we know already. But there is allegedly a physical card containing a download code. Second, this card came in a standard Xbox 360 game case, leaving us with a retail copy looking like this. Interesting. Across my Reddit travels, I encountered only one person that claimed to have owned it. I fire off a DM, hoping for any sign of life, checking my inbox, refreshing every day, waiting for a response. Days turned into weeks, and nothing. A stark reminder of my old Tinder profile in college. My DMs were drier than the Sahara. A dead end. If the internet's capital of nuanced discussion was a bust, then maybe we needed a more direct approach. Let's return to that eBay listing from before and see what we can find. Although, seeing this listing again, it broke me. I was distraught. Every source I had seen for years said that there was no physical release, and yet here it was, staring me in the face. It certainly rattled my beliefs. Why don't we buy this and see if we can get some more information?
Let's see what the damage is. Only $10,000. That's not so bad.
While I might be a mega wealthy and famous YouTuber, this is a little high. Every other listing only has the case, but no card. There was one listing that had the card and the box, but it was already redeemed. Kinda hard to see if something's legit if it's already redeemed. And in the 15 or so years since Mothership Zeta's release, there's only been 2 recorded sales of both the game box and the card, and they've long since been delisted. Another dead end. However, luck had not evaded me yet. Another lead. The Fallout Wiki says it was available at retail, lending credibility to its existence. But where's the source? I needed to Google more. An old GameFAQs forum from 11 years ago. Perfect. Maybe this could shed some light on, oh, never mind, more evidence. On a list of the most valuable Xbox 360 games, it mentions Mothership Zeta, and corroborates that there was indeed a physical release, and there is a record of this item being bought by someone. So it does exist. Somewhere. It must be real. I would be lying if I said that my worldview wasn't crumbling at this point. What was real? What wasn't? I searched far and wide for an answer, but all I found were questions. A basic Google search only brought more confusion. I needed to go to the source, to hear the truth from Bethesda themselves. At first I thought about contacting the lead quest designer for Mothership Zeta to get his opinion, but let's be real, if a stranger calls you at 3 in the morning ranting about Mothership Zeta cards from 15 years ago, I'd probably be put on a watch list. So instead, let's take a more generalized approach, and reach out to Bethesda the company first and dole out our questions more strategically. Then we'll get put on a watch list. I gave Bethesda a ring on their main phone number. Oh god, I'm kinda nervous, dude. Alright, here we go.
Thank you for calling ZeniMax Media. If you know your party's extension, please dial it now, or you may press 9 for a dial by name directory.
Yes, I'm looking for Todd Howard. After being put on hold for a while, they transferred me to the DLC from 15 years ago department. In the meantime, I had some time to reflect. Why was I doing this? Is the truth even out there? Does this literally matter at all? The time for valid self-reflection was over the second I was connected to an actual person. Hello?
Audio functionality test.
Oh my god. Representative.
Immediate self-destruct. Die.
Oh god! I was connected to a very helpful ZeniMax employee, and after several minutes of trying to explain the insanity of my conundrum, she provided some insight. She said,
Default Cheesecake, is that you? God, you're so f***ing weird and a pathetic, man. Stop calling this number or we'll have to call the cops.
sorry guys, that was a voicemail from my mom. What she actually said was, a solid piece of evidence straight from the makers themselves. Maybe I wasn't as crazy as I thought. Maybe this stupid box was just nothing more than a bamboozle. But I had to prove it. I reevaluated my approach. Perhaps I didn't need to buy one of those overly priced plastics to get what I needed. All I really needed was the zoom tool. Inspect the box. Zoom. Enhance. Triangulate those numbers. Cross-reference the composition of the plastics. I did it all. Default Cheesecake, did you reach out to the manufacturer of the plastic cases? Of course I did. I spoke with former representatives from Amaray and Flexbox, both of which were manufacturers of the Xbox 360 game cases, and there was no record of Mothership Zeta in their files. But I still needed more. These numbers on the side could tell me something, right? Except, I have literally no idea what those numbers are called. Like anyone struggling to complete their research, I turned to a most reputable source. ChatGPT. Hey ChatGPT, what are these numbers called?
They can refer to a couple of things depending on the region and publisher. item numbers in some regions, particularly the catalog numbers in other regions like Europe and Asia. So while there's no specific term, they can be called item numbers or...
Thanks, ChatGPT. I looked up the item/catalog number everywhere and I got nothing. Furthermore, when comparing the item/catalog numbers of the Mothership Zeta box with the other releases, there's the addition of the letters DLC. Strange, especially since the other boxes don't have those letters. Seems kinda weird to specifically denote only Mothership Zeta as DLC. But okay, catalog numbers can vary wildly. It can merely be a weird coincidence. But the only coincidence I believe in is that Easy Pete is Elder Lions. So we dig deeper. Flip these bad boys over. At first glance, they look pretty similar in style and markings, right? Both had the same layout, bullet points, content rating warning. Hey, what? Sexual themes in Mothership Zeta? I was joking about the flight attendants, man. Look closely though, and you'll notice some subtle yet important differences. Namely in these little tabs down here. Notice in how the two legitimate releases, there's the tabs Players 1 and Achievements, yet they're both missing on Mothership Zeta's box. It's also missing the tab Friends, but if you're examining an Xbox 360 game case this closely like me, you probably don't have many to begin with. You'd think those would be some pretty important bullet points to include given the fact that Mothership Zeta has achievements and is single player only. But I wanted to bury this thing once and for all. I need concrete evidence. Like any broke dude looking to buy something, my eyes were immediately drawn to the most important part. The price tag. I scanned the barcode using an app on my phone and it said insufficient funds. That's a weird name for a product. In actuality, I scoured through numerous barcode number databases and I was shocked. Entering the barcode numbers for the other Fallout 3 DLCs instantly has multiple hits. Yet, if you enter the barcode number in for Mothership Zeta, it doesn't appear anywhere. I was able to find this barcode in another database, but its only reference was the eBay listing. It wasn't listed in a retail environment anywhere. This isn't the smoking gun quite yet, as you could say there are some regional differences in video game releases that might be misleading us. For example, the European release of the Pit DLC has a different barcode number than the American version. From what I've found though, the only releases of Mothership Zeta were all from North America. You can tell by that little box in the spine that says NTSC, denoting that the game is from North America. For reference, this is what a European version would look like.
Peggy 18.
The bizarre thing is that every single Mothership Zeta copy was NTSC, and the barcode databases were all showing results from North America. If this was a legitimate copy intended to be sold, even in small quantities, why is there no record of this being sold in a retail setting anywhere? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I think I've come to a conclusion. If you haven't picked up on it yet, my personal conclusion is that these copies are not legitimate. They're a bamboozle, a fake, a ruse. Shocking, I know. If the primary sources from the creators themselves and numerous inconsistencies weren't enough, allow me to make one last point. You may think that this could be some leaked, never-before-seen, ultra-rare promotional item that only hits shelves for a limited pre-order, but let's break that down real quick. Creating physical cases like this can be more of a logistical headache than you might realize. So many factors can go wrong during production. A good example I found was the story of a truck hauling thousands of GameCube box arts and then being completely ruined by water leakage. So my question is simply, why bother? Why would Bethesda spend the time, energy, and money to create an entirely unique case just to shove one piece of tiny cardboard in it? A piece of cardboard that's only utility is to display a single code. Why not just save yourself the effort and have it be a digital-only release? It reduces financial risk on Bethesda's end immensely, and hey, if the DLC sells like Alien Butthole, then you don't have to worry about it competing for shelf space for that new Fallout game that's already been in its marketing campaign for months now. Again, just look at this. It's a f***ing business card. Why would you put it in a DVD case? Ultimately, you're free to draw your own conclusions, but who knows? Maybe you could be the next person to find the new lead in this case. And if you think you are, then share your findings below. I'd love to be proven wrong. But for me, I think that Mothership Zeta is always going to be Fallout 3's lost DLC. Hey, thanks for making it this far. Just wanted to quickly add here that don't go and message or harass any of these eBay sellers selling these products. I don't know if they think it's real or not, it doesn't really matter. Just don't waste your time. So, that's it. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next one.
I hope them aliens are real so that I have more things to fuck.